So this morning, like I have every morning this week, a little earlier this morning because we're starting earlier, but 6:30 in the water, in the waves. And you know, I love surfing. Not a good surf beach, but I do enjoy body surfing. Great body surfing beach if you like to body surf. The waves are just perfectly shaped for it. And body surfing is it's a study in patience, it's a study in looking. It's a lot like the work we do with our clients. And you're out there and your waves are coming, and you're trying to read the waves. You're trying to figure out, which wave is gonna have that special shape, which one's gonna crash at just the right time, which one's gonna pick me up and carry me to shore. And if you're not watching, you're gonna miss the wave. Right? Just like our clients. And sometimes you're in the wrong position. If you're in a little bit too close and you try to catch that wave, you know what's going to happen? Your heels are going to hit the back of your head. Happened to me yesterday. And let me tell you, I'm not at the age where that feels good anymore. And sometimes it looks like a great wave comes and you catch it and it's like, okay. And you get back out and your 15-year-old son says, Dad, the one right behind it was the wave you wanted. All right? That's what client experience is. We're watching our clients. We're trying to be in just the right position. We're trying to time things. And when we get it right, it's amazing, it's spectacular. And when we don't, it can hurt. So while we're here in the lovely Puerto Rico, I mean, what an amazing resort, huh? This is great. I've always wanted to present in flip-flops, so check that one off the bucket list. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to get out in the Gulf of America now, whatever it is, too soon. If you haven't had a chance to get out in the water, get out there sometime before you leave, and watch the waves. And if you don't want to get in the water, okay, sit out there and just watch the waves. See if you can find the patterns. Just have that little Zen moment and think about how everything you learned this week ties together to help us all take better care of our clients. So we're going to have a great program today. Those who were at the a Client Savvy user group session yesterday, I had a ton of fun there. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, SMPS, Toki, and A&E Engineering, who's sponsoring all of our video work. So big shout out to you guys for doing that. Thank you. And then we have some corporate sponsors here, Withers Ravenel, Terracon, and HDR. So thank you all for supporting what we're trying to do here. This community can't happen without our sponsors. So we very much appreciate that. In terms of agenda today, opening sessions, we have got breakouts this morning. We'll be back in here for lunch. We've got our awards, fantastic keynote. I've told a few people I hate keynote speeches. And we don't have keynotes every year at CXps, only if we find like the right one. And Carla, we've been working on this, 4 years trying to make it happen. So I'm super excited for our 10th anniversary event that we've got Carla Johnson here. And guys know that the keynote is part of our excursions tonight. And what you're going to learn in the keynote, you're going to apply in our excursions. And those of you who have not been to CXps before, these evening excursions are an integrated part of the learning experience. Yes, they're fun, but tomorrow morning we're going to be back in here workshopping, and we're going to use what we learn at lunch today from Carla's keynote and our experiences tonight on the excursions, and we're going to put it all together and apply it tomorrow. And what does going to a dive bar have to do with an engineering firm? Well, we're going to figure that out. And we're going to learn, and there's going to be innovation, and I guarantee you're going to walk away from here tomorrow with a better idea of how to do something amazing and special in your businesses. So if you have not signed up for an excursion, find me, find Pam. We'll make some magic happen. There's been a couple of moves, so hopefully by break time, if not latest lunch, we'll have you all assigned into the right excursions, and we'll let you guys know. So you can plan for that. And With that, we're going to be moving pretty quickly. Opening keynote. Michelle Rafter, you want to come on up and join me on the stage? Look at that. I'm 7 minutes ahead of schedule. Probably good because I think we're going to talk a little bit longer. We have partnered with CXps, and I'll let Michelle introduce CXps, but we have partnered with CXps to do some original research on the role and the impact of client experience on the industry. And CXps is AEC. I know that's most of you here, but I think the lessons apply across boundaries. And we're looking at how does CX, the firms that are doing or not doing CX, how does that impact the business results that they're seeing? So this is first of its kind research. The results so far, this is a preview. We're not finished with the research yet. We'll be doing that at CXps Amplify in August. But I could not have scripted the results any better if I was like faking the numbers myself. I believe them because we all know CX is good for business. And now we've got some data to back that up. So Michelle, you want to do a quick introduction and then introduce CXps as well?
Yes, so I'm Michelle Raftery. I am a principal and partner at 4240 Architecture. We are located in Denver, Colorado. Our firm is, we work all over the country, even though we have one office in Denver. We've worked with clients at the scale of Disney on 7 resorts across the US and world, down to mom and pops who want to do something special. And so me as an individual and a volunteer at CXps, we bring a lot to say, okay, what does this look like? Can you all hear me okay? I'm getting a lot of extra feedback. Okay, thank you. At CXps stands for the Society for Marketing Professional Services. It is the only organization focused on marketing and business development for architecture, engineering, and construction firms. We have partnered with Client Savvy for this because no one has studied it, right? We work in it every day and don't have data yet to say, here's why it's working, here's what we're seeing, and here's what's next. And so we're really excited about that.
Absolutely. So I know most of you here are already on the CX journey. You've already got leadership buy-in. You're already moving things forward. Some of you still need some help to get your leaders bought in. And there's a lot of people not here who want to do CX. They desperately wanted to be here, but they couldn't get permission or they couldn't get it funded or they can't get leaders bought in. So a lot of this is to enable you to keep driving the message forward and start driving adoption of CX across your organization. So the primary focus of this research has been what CX inputs create the most impactful business outcomes. So we've got this great survey. Who here has taken this survey? Got a handful? Okay. We're going to send it to you next week. We really need your participation. We've got really good numbers so far, but we're trying to make sure we have enough of a sample size that we can do some breakdowns by industry, by sector, some of those things. So we'll send it to all of you next week, please. I mean, we kind of like surveys around here, right? So please give us some information on that. And we've put in about 40 different inputs, like what are the things you're doing with CX? And then we have 8 different outputs in terms of what's happening in the business. So we're looking at revenue growth, profitability, proposal win rate, referrals, percentage of negotiated work, employee retention, employee attraction, and then attracting and hiring new ideal clients. So these are the business outcomes that we've been tracking. And the results so far have been honestly pretty amazing. And so we're just going to kind of color comment as we go through here. We were able to break down and say, based on those business outcomes, what are the top 20% doing versus what are the bottom 20% doing? So we can see some of the patterns and the themes in high-performing firms. So for example, 65% of top-performing firms are using client surveys versus only 39% of botting. So clearly, listening to your clients gives you the opportunity to drive business outcomes. We have firms that are using feedback to look at when are we over-delivering and maybe we're underpricing. So of course it's easier to drive better business outcomes when you're syncing up with the clients that way. It's a lot easier to retain clients and keep them for the long term when you're capturing client feedback. So it's no surprise. I mean, this is what we would expect, but now we have some data to understand what top performing firms are doing. And then 74% of top performing firms are using client feedback in their strategic planning process versus only 26%.
I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise, right? The fundamentals of gathering information is, how are you going to use it? What are you going to do with it? And so to see the top performers, 74% of them are using that feedback in their strategic planning is not really a surprise, but a great verification.
Yeah. And two sides of this that I find really interesting. One is firms that get feedback before their strategic plan. And they're using the voice of client to inform what should our strategies be. Do we have certain market sectors where, for whatever reason, whether we know why or not, we're really knocking it out of the park? Well, if we know that in these 3 market sectors, we figured something out with our clients, shouldn't that be part of our strategic planning? Prioritizing go-to-market, business development, budget allocation. Let's go focus and grow where we're already performing well, rather than coming out of planning with a focus on a market where you've got some really stiff competition and actually you're seen as a commodity by your clients rather than as a premium option. That's a very big mistake you can make and put a lot of time, effort, and resources into growth where you're not going to have the best results. In those situations, if that's the market you want to go into, you got to focus on the client experience side first. We've got to create the raving fans to get the referrals and enable us to have the kind of win rates and capture rates that we want over there. So that feedback can really help you miss wasting a year of futility. And then the other ones I see a lot is firms that coming out of strategic planning, they look at client surveys and client feedback as an accelerant for enabling their strategic plan. Now that we know what we want to do, how do we incorporate voice of client to keep us in sync and use that data to further achieve what we're trying to accomplish?
Ryan, can I stop you right there and sidebar a moment?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going off script.
We don't have a script, so this is what we do. Yeah.
Okay, off script. Okay, so the SMPS Foundation, which I'm currently the president of, is focused on delivering intelligence and insight. That is the arm that is partnered with Client Savvy and brought you these sneak peeks here today. We also have another research effort underway to measure emerging trends. It is an annual program that we are just launching and will also be revealed at Amplify in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so we also have a sneak peek of that. One of the top 3 trends that we are seeing in our industry, not because it's a fleeting trend, but because it matters for business, is client experience adoption in our industry. We didn't plan that, we kind of knew, but to have that show up, to be one of those top 3 influences in our businesses is phenomenal. So don't tell anyone yet, but that's in there. And that's why all of this is so exciting to have it happening at the same time. So we can, 1, know it's a trend and deep dive to see how that matters and what we can do with it.
Exactly right. So on that same note, we're just talking about firms that are using client feedback to inform strategic planning. 59% are 59% more likely to have above average growth and 24% more likely to have above average profitability. So we're looking at what are top performing firms doing, but then we're looking at what are the results of doing these things. So these are really moving the needle in growth, revenue, profitability, some of the things that matter in the boardroom. So hopefully some of this research is going to help you. There will be a formal written report, so you don't have to scribble all the notes down. It'll be a month or so, and we'll get that 2 months, maybe 2 months, I think. We'll get that report out, and so that'll be published and available, and you can certainly use it with your leadership team.
What I love about starting to integrate the conversation of growth and profitability are the things that my partners and I talk about every month, which is, okay, growth is great, but at what cost, right? And so tracking these in combination with each other, you've got growth, and for a certain amount of time, you can do that without profitability, but profitability has to happen, and we're seeing those two more closely aligned as we move through these data points.
So Michelle, I know you, one of your many part-time jobs is leading the employee engagement and HR side at your organization. So what are your thoughts on firms providing CX training or professional development are 60% more likely to be above average in growth and 43% more likely to see above average profitability?
So the most exciting thing about the work that we do in professional services is that it is about people, right? The most challenging thing is that it's about people. And so when we don't, I didn't mean to be funny.
No, that was great.
When we don't start to step back and say, okay, what is this experience like for the person sitting next to me, the person that is helping get through this deadline, the person that is excited about what we're doing, or the opposite of that, we miss out on an opportunity to, yes, have growth, and yes, be profitable in that process, but more importantly, enjoy the journey. And this is fluffy, I know, but we find, yes, lower attrition rates when you are investing in your people and creating a great experience for them, where they come to work and they have access to the tools and resources and community that they need to thrive. You're going to continue to see that. And who has more touch points with the client than your people, right? In professional services, if you look at, okay, some of the other KPIs that we watch, other than attrition, we have engagement. Engagement has been at an all-time low. There was the Great Resignation and, quiet quitting and everything else that you've seen. So when we focus on how we connect our mission and vision that we have for what we want to do with that experience that our employees have and the process of that with our clients, we will continue to see these numbers tick up.
Yep. And this focus specifically on training the frontline staff on client experience is really key. You can talk about it as leaders, but until we start training the frontline, how do you really do client experience? Did you know you could teach empathy? Empathy is a coachable skill. And if we can talk about being an empathetic organization, but if we don't teach empathy, if we don't give, some of these hard-nosed engineers and accountants a toolkit that they can use, those left brain thinkers need some left brain methods and modalities to practice some of the empathy stuff. So we've got to train for that. We can't just expect it without equipping and enabling the team. So of course, the organizations that are training on CX internally are going to see better CX outcomes and therefore see better business outcomes. And Jim Holtz from MSA has a workshop today all about creating this kind of training. So they've done an amazing work at MSA. So if you want to focus in on this, go to Jim's session and you're going to learn exactly how to do it. So, so glad these results all sync up with our program today. It's amazing. Top performing firms are twice as likely to have leadership directly involved in CX. And top performing firms are 2.5 times more likely to have multi-departmental buy-in. So who here is doing CX and feels like you're on an island? There should be some hands in the room, yeah? That's okay, you don't have to hide. I know you're not alone, I've heard from plenty of you. What have you seen in terms of organizations really getting bought in on CX across the spectrum from leadership to frontline, marketing, operations?
It's still lower than it should be, right? The feeling of, okay, I need to prove this, I need to test it quietly with a small budget to show them that it works so that they're coming to me and saying, hey, what was that? What was that again that you had said that could do this thing? We've all been there. And so when I think about, my growth and trajectory as an owner in my company, I was doing a lot of those kind of things. And so the more that you can make that meaningful, we know that having leadership buy-in, having cross-departmental buy-in and collaboration, that integration is the key to success. And so enabling yourself and your teams around you with those strategies to really get that is going to be that tipping point.
Yeah, and the firms that really do this well, especially, are engaging back office. What does IT, who's, fixing computers and keeping servers online, what do they have to do with client experience? Everything. What does accounting have to do with client experience? Everything. So as you really start looking through the organization, when you engage across the functions, you end up, I was facilitating the CX portion of a firm's annual planning session, and the IT guy had his, moment of agenda. And he goes, yeah, we're going to be rolling out new laptops for everybody this year. And we're kind of looking at this thing because it's got the best, AutoCAD, blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking about it. How much does it suck to be sitting in a meeting and everyone has this wall up between them and the client? So I found this laptop, and look, it folds flat and it's viewable from all around, so we can fold it down and have our clients involved and looking at stuff together on the screen. What IT person do you know thinks that way? And that's what happens when a firm really commits to client experience. You get everybody thinking about all those little touch points and details, and it all grows up and accrues up to make great experiences for clients.
Right. If you have IT, you have your county department buy-in, and you have HR. I mean, you can do anything, right? You could build a rocket ship if you wanted to.
Exactly right. So I know this one's close to your heart. Leading CX firms are twice as likely to attract and retain talent. What are you seeing? Why do you think CX firms are attracting and retaining talent better than anybody else?
Yes. It's no surprise that employees are not seeking JOBs, right? And so when you create an experience and that's tied to what they love and why they are there, you're not paying for a recruiter to place someone who may or may not want to be there. You are not spending another exorbitant amount of dollars chasing people. They are coming to you. They see that from you. And so in our business, in professional services, our people are the greatest cost that we have. And so if we're attracting and retaining, we are greatly contributing to that connection to what it is that we're delivering, what it is that we are doing, and
right.
Making that a smoother transition.
Yeah, and some of the other firms we've worked with over the years, they're starting to learn people like doing good work. People like working with clients who love them. People hate putting out fires all the time and being in trouble. So when we don't have CX at the center of the business, we have the change orders that really frustrate clients, and we have the fires that mean we're on vacation with the family and we've got to go jump on a call because, something didn't go well in the client experience. And so firms that are nailing the client experience, you're getting rid of all that friction with the clients. Well, friction is always two surfaces rubbing together, right? Well, the client's one side of it. Who's the other side? It's your project managers. It's your staff. So they're feeling the friction too. So when you really make CX happen in your business, you're getting rid of that friction layer. Your staff feel that. And when they feel that, man, not only is this an easier place to work than anywhere else I've ever worked before, but my heart gets full because clients tell me they love me. And firms that are really gathering feedback and sharing it with the front lines, they're building up their staff on a daily basis, and staff gets to walk around. Yeah, my clients love me. And I get to work at a firm who has great clients, and we get to do great work. And they tell all their friends about that. So there's all these connections, and we all kind of know in the back of our mind, yeah, CX and EX, they kind of go together, but when you really look at the mechanisms and the drivers behind it, it makes a lot of sense why CX firms are seeing these business outcomes that really matter.
So last holiday season, we have a team that received a tin of cookies, each one of them, from our client. They received a tin of cookies, every single one of them, from our client. That never happens, right? Maybe you'll get a card. Maybe they'll say something like, "I love you. You did a great job. This was great."
But cookies are
But a
better.
tin of cookies, really? I mean, we didn't measure for that in the survey for those of you who took it or are about to take it. But when your clients are coming to every person on that team that is helping them succeed with a holiday gift. I mean, those are things that
Exactly right.
doing something right.
Right.
They are doing something right and have that personal gratification of that.
And when you wow your clients like that, they think of ways to say thank you because you created so much value for them. Top performers are twice as likely to have senior leadership involved in CX activities. That doesn't mean leaders are behind it or they're supporting it. That means senior leaders are a part of it. So I know time is like the scarcest resource we all have, leaders especially who are busy. CX teams, find strategic ways to pull leaders into your CX activities. If you're doing a journey map, get someone from the exec committee in on the journey map. Leaders, oftentimes, it's been a minute since they've been on the front lines. It's been a little while since they've been taking care of clients directly or managing a project. And you get them into a journey mapping session and they start hearing how brilliant your people are. And your people are showing a demonstrated understanding of here's what we're doing to clients and here's where we're creating friction points and here's where there's opportunities to really wow the client. And you have that executive seeing the details in the cracks that they don't miss or they would miss in the executive memo. Oh, that's what we're doing to clients. Oh, look how brilliant these people are that work for us that are understanding what's happening in the client journey. I have seen leaders go from this to rolling up their sleeves and diving in to make things better for clients because someone pulled them in. So if you're not pulling in your executives into your CX activities, you're missing some real opportunities and some really powerful people who can help you accelerate a lot faster. So drag them if you have to, coax them with cookies or wine or Puerto Rico, whatever you got to do. It's really powerful when they get involved.
I think the other thing is, depending on the size of the firm, those senior leaders are the ones that still have that interface with the client. And so the seller-doer model is still very prevalent in professional services. And if they are overloaded with everything else on their plate, from changing regulation to very dynamic requirements for what we are delivering, that one more of CX activity could feel like too much, right? Oh, I can't go do this. And so when we talk about that buy-in with IT, with accounting, with all these other departments, making that transition smoother. So it's not just senior leadership, I don't need one more thing, but it's a lean in, oh, this could actually combine more things into one for me.
Yes, good CX is reductive. Good CX is not one more thing. Good CX is going across those departmental boundaries, finding where we can take stuff out. Those of you who know me know I love racing cars. I've got this one specific car because it was the lightest weight mid-engine car, and love Colin Chapman, a designer for Lotus cars, and he would always say, make things as light as you can and then a little bit lighter. And that's what CX should be. It should be stripping away all the extra stuff, and what's left is value creation for your clients, and all the other noise goes away. So, yeah. That's a hard thing to think about because it gets so busy. And how do we do one more thing? So be thinking about that as you're rolling out your CX programs. What do we take away because CX is giving us a path? 83% of top performers indicate they have that multi-departmental buy-in for CX versus only 30% of the bottom performers.
I was actually surprised by this.
Why?
I don't, 83. I mean, 83, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So is it really bought? I don't know. Then I turn into a skeptic looking at this. But what does that buy-in mean? Does it mean, oh yeah, it's a good idea? Or is it roll up our sleeves, here's implementation strategies?
Right. Yeah. So again, this is like draft one. We haven't done the deep analysis yet. These are the early findings. So that's one our analyst and I are going to dive deeper into to see if we can't figure out what does that really tell us. So this one's close to my heart as a client feedback company. We love this one. Firms that are closing feedback loops. 38% more likely to have above average growth and 19% more likely to have above average profitability. Did you know that responding to client feedback could increase your chance of growing 40%? It's not hard, guys. This is really simple stuff. It's low-hanging fruit. You ask a client, how are you doing? And the client says, okay. Do you just walk away? So if you're doing feedback, make sure you're closing those feedback loops. Take action on it. You know, some of these things we're talking about, like multi-departmental buy-in, those are like big strategic things. Some of the tactical details are showing up in the data as impactful and meaningful to business outcomes. And I think a lot of that speaks to culture. That's probably what you're going to...
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen is like, it's not just the closing of the feedback loop so that they feel heard, so that they can see that change, but we've seen that accelerate their engagement with us, their trust in us, which has led to referrals. And so when we have that feedback loop that is this continuous for them, it deepens that relationship, and then they can't wait to tell everyone about their experience with us. And so when a lot of our business is based on referral, this is the closest connection of kind of all these data points that lead to that additional revenue source for us.
Absolutely. And we've also done research in the past where when you close a feedback loop and document that you've done it, you reduce your frequency of low scores from that client 83%. So if you don't have future frustrations with clients, that's less rework, that's less firefighting, that's more time for business development and client development. So yeah, there's a straight line path between responding to a client's feedback and freeing up your time and your energy and your focus to go work on growing the business and being more efficient and profitable. This is one of my favorite ones. And I know there's some people in here who are wearing multiple hats, not just you got the CX hat and the marketing hat and the this hat and the that hat. Firms that have a dedicated CX person or team, 147% more likely to see above average growth. 75% more likely to see above average profitability. I see some cameras coming out. Who needs a promotion or a job title change? All right. Who here aspires to focus only on CX in your career? Like you're at that stage, that's where you want to go. I'm so glad you're here. This is some really compelling data. And if you're trying to recast yourself into a CX role, when you really double down on CX and you can make that your thing and drive it through the organization, the results really speak for themselves. And I love this one too. Firms that measure the return on investment of CX, 94% more likely to have above average growth and 113% more likely to have above average profitability. I know marketing is kind of the same thing, right? Firms that measure the ROI of marketing did as well. So what kind of ROI programs or methods have you seen either in your firm or seen other firms use?
Yeah, so ROI is like this thing that was always just floating out there. We don't know how to measure it. What does this look like? If you do measure it in this way, it's gaming the system. But really, it does come down to how we're measuring what we're doing. If you don't measure it, you can't even begin to talk about it. So how you're measuring it matters. When I joined my firm, nothing was being measured other than project work, right? I think that was a common practice amongst at least mid-sized firms, maybe large firms. I'm surprised sometimes. But if we are not measuring, and I would say because CX adoption is not across the board, right? If we are not measuring, we can't begin to say if it's working or not, or how it's working more specifically. So getting to the point of that measurement technique that aligns with those goals, that aligns with the critical points in which you are trying to meet, will propel you from CX is good for growth to CX that can increase our growth and profitability by X.
Yeah, and kind of two sides of a coin on measuring ROI with your CX. The firms that don't, your program is going to last about 3 years. Because you're going to put energy into it, you're going to put time into it, and oftentimes leaders somewhere said, hey, let's go, let's do this, let's try it. And if you're not doing that diligent side of measuring the ROI, you know what happens in a couple of years? Leaders off over here on the next big thing. And because we don't have that business case, that, like hard-nosed math and reality of here's what CX is contributing to the business, energy and efforts and attention go focus somewhere else, and the CX thing starts to wither away. Conversely, organizations that make ROI a part of what they're doing with CX, especially out of the gate, get surprised at how much faster they go. So just this year, or late last year, I guess, we were working with a national construction company and put some ROI in place, and like phase 1A pilot, they found $800 million. And all of a sudden, you know what happened? The 2-year rollout plan said, can we do this in 2 months? Can we go faster? And resources started getting freed up and allocated. Someone got hired to help support it. Things changed because the ROI was there. So if you're struggling, if you don't have the attention you need, if you don't have the resources you need, really think about putting that ROI case together. How is CX going to impact revenue? How is it going to drive profitability? Whatever your boardroom talks about, whatever ELT talks about, tie CX to those things. They don't need something else on their plate. We need to see how the numbers they care about are moving because of CX. So, as we're wrapping up the summary, what's the CX gap between winners and laggards? The top 20% performers, they're investing in CX training and ROI measurement. They're driving CX from leadership. They're being proactive, not reactive. And they're using client feedback strategically. So if you're trying to figure out how do I make my program thrive, how do I really use client experience to accelerate our business outcomes, these are the things that the top performing firms are doing right now. And the bottom performers, what are they missing? Number one, they're not doing ROI measurement. They're rarely providing training focused on CX. They're addressing client issues reactively, and they have low leadership engagement in the CX process. So by laggards, this means firms that are below average with growth. They're below average with profitability. And these are some of the reasons why. So if your firm right now is lagging from a business financial outcome, and your leaders are stuck trying to figure out how do we change, how do we get ourselves in that top quartile, look at the stuff over on the left side of the screen and start using that to encourage them. These are what high-performing firms are doing. Michelle, any closing words before we wrap this session up?
Closing words. Again, this is a preview. So in the next couple of months, the full report will be out. It will be revealed at Amplify AEC, which is an SMPS conference. And the partnership with Client Savvy has been phenomenal. So really excited to be here. Use it. Take it. Use it. Continue to ask those questions. Continue to dig in. But we are thrilled to be here in partnership with you.
Thank you so much for being part of our journey, Michelle. We appreciate it.